Today we will study about time of flight mass analyzer. You know the function of mass analyzer. Once the ions are generated in the ionization region, the ions are sorted based upon their mass to charge ratio with the help of mass analyzer. So in time of flight mass analyzer, the time taken by the ion to fly and to reach to the detector is measured, and this time is going to give us indication about its mass. So as you can see here in the ionization region, first of all, the ions are generated. These ions are accelerated with the help of accelerating voltage. Same as we do it in case of magnetic sector instruments. But here the acceleration energy is much more higher. It is 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to power 4 voltage. So due to this acceleration, the ions get their final velocity and the direction. Once the ions leave the acceleration region, they fly into the long drift tube. So this is approximately 1 meter long drift tube, and herein we don't apply any kind of magnetic field. In case of magnetic sector kind of analyzers, we do apply magnetic field, and this magnetic field helps in deflection of ions based upon their mass to charge ratio. The difference out here is that we have a very long drift tube and into which we haven't applied any kind of magnetic field. Now once those ions enter into the long drift tube, they have gained the same kinetic energy, and you're aware about the formula of kinetic energy, which is equal to 1 half mv square. So this indicates if the ions have the same kinetic energy and if they are differing in their masses, so naturally the velocities of those ions will be also different. If the ion has higher mass, in that case it's going to have lower velocity, and if the ion has the lower mass, it's going to have a higher velocity. So as you can see out here in this diagram, we have three different kinds of ions. One is A, B and C. The C is the lighter ion and A is the heaviest ion. So this heaviest ion is lagging behind and the lighter ion has moved fast. Now this lighter ion is going to make its way up to the detector, and it's been recorded by the detector. So what detector is going to receive first is C plus ion, followed by B plus ion, and finally is going to receive A plus ion. So here we can see that all the ions in a packet of A have the same kinetic energy. Even all ions in the packet of B have the same kinetic energy. Same is the case along with C. So these ions reach to the detector at the same time, and we will get the intensity of the peak directly proportional to the ions present in that particular packet. If there are more number of ions present in packet C, it's going to give us a tall peak. Now this is what is ideally desired situation, but actual situation in a time of flight mass analyzer is not like that. Here we have made the first assumption that the kinetic energy of all the molecules is same, but this is not the true scenario. The kinetic energies of all those ions are going to be different. Few of the ions are going to move fast and few of the ions are going to move slow. So there are three reasons due to this. We are going to have this phenomenon. Now what's going to happen is initially the potential energy of all the ions uh, of A is not same. Similarly, those ions are being generated in various regions of your mass ionization region. Some of them are close to that of the accelerating plates and some of them are far away from the accelerating plates. So naturally, their kinetic energies are going to be different. And the third reason being the electric field itself is not uniform, so it's going to give rise to a little difference in the kinetic energies of those molecules. And you can see out here that the packet containing all ions of A don't have the same kinetic energy. Few are moving fast and few are moving slow. Same is the situation for the ions B and ion C. Now what is going to happen, the output of this is you are going to have a much more broader peak than what is expected in ideal situation. Because of this spread, few ions are going to reach to the detector first, even though they are of the same kind, C plus, while few of the ions are going to reach late, and this is going to give rise to the peak broadening. So this is what is limiting factor for time of flight mass analyzer. So this is going to give us the reduction in the resolution. Otherwise, this is the simplest kind of mass analyzer. We don't use any kind of magnetic field here. Now, how we are going to measure the mass to charge ratio? So here in this case, we've seen that the kinetic energy of the molecule is equal to 1/2 mv square, where m is the mass of the ion and v is the velocity of the ion, which is also equal to ZeV, wherein Z is charge of the ion, E is electronic charge, and V is accelerating voltage. Now, when you solve this equation, you will get the value for velocity, so which is 1 upon V is equal to under root m divided by 2 ZeV. This is first equation. Now we are also aware of that the velocity is equal to distance upon time. Now we convert this equation in terms of time of flight. So time of flight will be equal to distance traveled divided by velocity. Now here we'll substitute the velocity term with the help of equation 1, and what finally we get is time of flight is dependent upon mass to charge ratio. So here it means that if you can measure the time of flight, so naturally we can determine the mass to charge ratio of the ion. And this is the way the time of flight instrument works. Now in the first slide, we have seen that there is a kinetic energy spread, and this kinetic energy spread is going to give us a setback of decreasing the resolution. Now in the modern time of flight instrument, the reflectrons are being provided to correct this problem. So these reflectrons are series of electric fields which repels the ions back into the flight tube. So in a regular phenomenon, what we have is all those ions are generated, these are being accelerated. There is a kinetic energy spread in between different ions of the same packet, and now these ions are moving. Finally, they are striking off here on the reflectrons. Now here this C ion has a higher kinetic energy. So what it is going to do, it's going to travel more deep in the reflectron. So it's going to take a longer path in comparison to the C, which is lagging behind with the less kinetic energy. So it's going to penetrate a little bit. Now what is the ultimate resultant of this is all of those ions are going to reach the detector at the same time, what is desired, wherein better resolution can be achieved. So in modern time of flight instruments, we are using reflectrons. So with the help of those reflectrons, the resolution of the instrument is much more improved. This time of flight is the simplest kind of instrument. It is also rugged. It has extreme sensitivity. All ions can be easily detected. It has unlimited mass range. It has faster speed of analysis, and we have easy accessibility to the ionization region. The problem out here is that we can only adopt this instrument wherein the ionization region produces ions in the form of pulses. So unless and until we have first pulse completely recorded, means say if in first pulse we have 5 ions generated, so unless and until the fifth ions m by z is not recorded, the instrument is not going to do the analysis of next pulse. So the last ion from the first pulse has to be recorded. So in this case, what is required, that this kind of mass analyzer can be used along with the ionization which produces pulses. Now the next kind of mass analyzer is ion cyclotron resonance. So as the name indicates, we are going to use a cyclotron phenomenon. This is also called as Fourier transform MS. Now what we do in case of ion cyclotron resonance is we generate all those ions in a strong magnetic field. Okay, so unlike in other cases of ionization, we are going to use here the strong magnetic field. So under the influence of strong magnetic field, we are going to generate ions. So as you can see out here, we are using a very strong magnetic field. Superconducting magnets are being used. And naturally, if you're using some superconducting magnets, they should be maintained at very low temperature using liquid helium. Now, when you generate ions in a strong magnetic field, they are going to start rotating around the axis of applied magnetic field. So you can see that here we have applied the external magnetic field. All different ions which are being generated, they are going to start revolving around the external magnetic field, and they are doing it at certain frequency, number of turns per unit time. So we call this as an cyclotron frequency. So W is the cyclotron frequency, and we say cyclotron frequency is equal to velocity upon radius, which is also dependent upon mass to charge ratio. It is inversely proportional to mass. So if there is higher mass, so the cyclotron frequency is going to be lower. So this heavier mass, if A is a heavier mass, it's going to move at a slower speed in comparison to B. This is first step in a cyclotron. We are going to generate the ions in the presence of strong magnetic field. Okay, now we have different packets of ions present. Now what we are going to do with this different packets of ions? Second thing, what we do is we apply a RF AC voltage. So what is going to happen when you apply an RF AC voltage is when the AC voltage, its frequency matches with that of the cyclotron frequency of any of the ion present in the packet. In that case, it will absorb the energy, and the radius of that the path is going to get increased. So we have seen that we were having initially A and B revolving around the external magnetic field. Now we have provided RF pulse with its frequency matching to that of the cyclotron frequency of A plus. So what's going to happen is the radius of A plus is increased, okay, without affecting the radius of B plus. So B plus has maintained its path, but A plus, its radius has been increased. Okay, now this is not going to disturb its cyclotron frequency. Along with the increase in the radius, the velocity of this ion is also increased. Okay, so what we have is velocity is also increased and radius is also increased. So cyclotron frequency is not affected, it's going to remain same. The thing out here is that due to absorption of the energy, the path which is being taken by ion A, it is being changed. Now we are going to take advantage of this change path. Okay, so you can see how out here we are going to have two electrodes, two plates. So placed electrode 1 and electrode 2. So whenever you have this packet of ions moving, so with the application of radio frequency, what has happened is another phenomenon is what is called as fluorescence has been developed. All A plus are coming together and moving in the form of packet. So now when this packet is moving in a circular fashion from electrode 1 to electrode 2, we are going to get a reversal in the image current. So when A plus is going to approach electrode 1, it's going to call for the electrons from the external circuit. So electrons are going to move in this direction as A plus approaches to this plate. Now when A plus moves in this direction and it approaches electrode 2, the flow of electron has been reversed. So in this manner, if the flow of electron has been reversed. So we are going to have reversal in image current. So this image current is what we are going to measure. Now this image current is directly proportional to the number of ions present in that particular packet. So if I am going to have more number of ions in a packet A, in that case I am going to have a more strong image current. Now your task is not to measure only A plus. What we are going to do is we are going to measure A plus, B plus, and whatever ions are being generated out here. So for this reason, what we do is we have a RF pulse, a ramping RF pulse is been applied. So we are going to provide all the frequencies required for bringing all those ions into the resonance. Means all those ions are going to get the frequency required for changing their path. So what's going to happen? We have a packet of A performing certain revolutions. We have packet of B also, C also, and they are going to move now in a coherent fashion. So once they approach now these plates, it's going to generate the image current characteristic of its mass to charge ratio. Okay, so if we have an lighter mass, it's going to perform more revolution. If you have a heavier mass, it's going to perform a lower resolution. Okay, so what we do is we are going to measure all those signals in the form of spikes. So if you have a slow moving ion, in that case, it's going to approach to the ion, those floats a fewer number of turns in comparison to lighter ions. So we are going to have a superimposition of the image currents, and this image current then gradually goes on decreasing. As in case of NMR, we have seen free induction decay. Here also we get a FID kind of signal. So this is a superimposition of image current produced by all packets of ions, and this has been gradually decreasing because the ions present in a packet of ion gradually collide with each other and they are being lost. So gradually there is decrease in the image current. Now here in this case, in the schematic, you can see that we are going to generate the ions here in this cuboidal region with the help of an magnetic field. So we have an applied magnetic field out here, and we have an ionization type, say electron impact is being used. Electrons are bombarded into this region and electrons are being collected by the collector plate. So this has been given in the form of pulses. So we do produce ions in the form of pulses. We confine them, keep them for certain duration into this cyclotron cell, and then they are brought to the resonance. Once they are brought to the resonance, then we measure the image current. So with the help of the receiver plate, we measure the image current. This is a transmitter plate, which is going to be the source of radio frequency. So this is very much useful for bringing the ions to the resonance. So this ion cyclotron resonance instrument, it is going to give us the highest signal to noise ratio. It has highest sensitivity as we measure image current more number of times. It also has highest resolution, but it is costly to purchase and costly to maintain also. Thank you.